Previously, Su had teased him by saying that if he passed, he would call him dad. He passed the first test with spirit power of 1028. However, his ex-girlfriend claimed that he would never pass the following section. One member claimed that his spirit strength was really higher, but he asked him to stay quiet as he prepared for the next test. Now to this week's chapter. Just then, a fire encircled the shadow of his beast as his summoning brought it into the real world. The crowd watched closely, hoping to discover if his beast belonged to a renowned bloodline, as he released a powerful rush of spirit power in the first test. As the fire faded, the assembled audience glimpsed glimpses of a beast's ear, and when the flames reduced even more, they saw the face of a dog. When the fire was out, they were confronted with the sight of a frail dog beast sleeping on the ground. They laughed as they taunted him for having such a poor lineage, the lowest possible grade. Just then, the hound began to stir due to the disturbance. It stood up and looked around curiously, while the examiner frowned at the weak dog beast. He thought that Zixinggu's enormous spirit strength was worthless if he could only call monsters of inferior bloodline. He closed his eyes, preparing to express his disappointment, but suddenly the hound made a noise. As the dog began to move, people's attention was drawn to its movements. One witness lifted an eyebrow, clearly skeptical that the monster was only a weak hound. The weak-looking hound's eyes grew crimson as the cross on its face started to glow. It expanded in size, becoming more fierce as a dark crimson glow surrounded it. One individual yelled in amazement, arguing that hounds could not develop, especially since they had no evolutionary path to begin with. The examiner took a step closer, overshadowed by the beast, and started a bloodline check device. It proved that the monster was a Hellwind beast with an epic hell bloodline, capable of hellfire and hellbend, as well as fire and air abilities. However, the talent Hell Howl was now restricted. The equipment failed to identify an evolution route, and as he studied the facts, he began to question himself, wondering if the beast was at the second stage of its evolution. He smiled back at Zixinggu, understanding that his suspicions regarding the young man's remarkable potential had been correct. Zixinggu acknowledged the smile, sensing the examiner's satisfaction for his tamed beast. The examiner revealed the findings, stating that Zixinggu had passed both examinations and was now a student at the Kingling Academy. Suji and Zhonglina, humiliated by the uproar they had made, attempted to flee while everyone was staring at the beast. But Zixinggu called out to them, asking where they thought they were going. Suji looked back to find Zixinggu standing near his huge tamed beast. With a sarcastic tone, Zixinggu inquired whether Suji had forgotten the prior agreement. But Suji was unable to keep his end of the bargain and became furious. He pointed at Zixinggu, telling him that he shouldn't be so arrogant, especially as the son of the richest man in town. He claimed that he would not fulfill their agreement and confronted Zixinggu, asking what he intended to do about it. Meanwhile, Zhonglina watched, embarrassed and uncertain how to respond. As he directed his beast to take Suji, Zixinggu's expression changed from one of satisfaction to rage. Su turned just in time to see the beast racing toward him, unable to escape its grip. As the beast held him down with a single claw, Zixinggu remembered his earlier words and grinned. He announced that Su would fulfill his end of the bargain by calling him dad. Su understood he had no way out of the scenario he had created, as the beast's weight pressed down on him. Gritting his teeth, he finally gave in and addressed Zixinggu as dad. Suddenly, the weight disappeared as Zixinggu walked away, taunting Suji by claiming he did not have a waist of a kid like him. Just then, Zhonglina stood in front of him, smiling as she admitted to missing him and growing feelings for him over the previous 2.5 years. She asked if she might return as his girlfriend, but Su recognized her true character and moved past her, declaring that he did not wish to return to the past. Zhonglina watched him leave with regret. In a desperate attempt to reclaim his attention, she collapsed and cried out, acknowledging her mistake in leaving him and begged for another opportunity. However, he ignored her and continued to walk away. A few minutes later, as he strolled down a downtown street, he decided to contact his sister and tell her the good news. He located her phone number and phoned. When she responded, he began with a welcome, but was soon stopped by her shrieking in the background. He could hear beasts attacking, and as he listened closer, the roar of monsters resonated down the line. His expression turned serious as he realized his sister was in danger, with monsters roaming across that part of the city. Alarmed, he swiftly devised a strategy for reaching her. The scene moved to the outskirts of the city, where a farmer's market was in full swing, but terror grabbed the crowds. Fear was clear on their faces as they rushed to avoid the attacking creatures. Among the chaos, a small girl could be seen crying as she was being hugged firmly by someone attempting to calm her. The chaos around her further added to her terror, highlighting the situation's urgency as everyone struggled for survival. A young lady hugged the small child closely, trying to keep her calm. She kept a firm grasp, her look determined, as she sheltered the youngster from the chaos around them. The sounds of the creatures raged in the background, but the young lady concentrated on keeping the girl secure, her eyes scanning for any sign of danger and calmly holding her hand. The girl's cries were heard, but the lady's presence brought some comfort in the middle of the chaos. But she was so concentrated on the tiny child that she didn't notice the big shadow behind her. The sounds of the girls crying drew a monster to their location. As the thing approached, its ominous presence filled the air, prompting the young lady's senses to kick in. She turned, her eyes wide with panic, understanding they were in danger. The big creature crept over the tiny wall they were sheltering behind, sharp tail ready to attack. The young lady could only look up in dread as she automatically pulled the small girl's head aside to protect her from the creature's gaze. However, the small girl caught a glimpse of the monster and screamed out, covering her eyes firmly. As the creature rose above them, its eyes fixated on the duo, the young lady realized the seriousness of the situation. This may be their death. Fear grabbed her heart, but she stayed steadfast, determined to protect the kid regardless. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like. It really helps me out.